Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kyra here with another Raid Shadow Legends video. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about the 10 irreplaceable, rare, and epic characters in the game. And so what I mean by that is I want to talk about characters that just so happen to be rare and epic characters, but they're the absolute best at what they do. There's no legendary that can replace them down the line. No, not even a void legendary that can replace them. It's just these are the best at what they do. They just so happen to be in the package of a rare or epic character. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. I try to get as many rares on this list as possible. It's really tough, especially when you take into account the entire in-game, all the characters you could potentially pull. Finding the characters the absolute best at what they do all the way through that are rare or really tough. So the first one is going to be Cold Heart here. So no, to no one's surprise, Cold Heart, one of the staple characters that people want as a rare character. Cold Heart, there's no one that can really compare to what she does when it comes to how she has enemy max HP, turn meter reduction on the same move. She also hits 4 times on her A1, which is fantastic for Fire Knight. So it's going to be really tough to replace her. No character that can really fit that. The only character that comes close is Railguard, but he's different. In my opinion, he's just a different character. He has different strengths and weaknesses when it comes to what she does. There's just no character that can even come close to it and how good they are at clearing the Fire Knight and clearing Spider, stuff like that. So you just can't replace her. She's just awesome. She's just awesome all the way through. Once you pull her, you'll know you get a character that you'll just never replace. Next and last rare on this list, I really wanted to get more rares on here. And you can argue that there's some farmers that you're going to last all the way to end game. Like, for example, I'm using Bellower, and Fellhound could be another void rare character that are 6-second farmers that you'll use all the way through the end game. But I think that's kind of cheating. I'm talking about characters that you're actually going to use in like clan boss, stuff like that. So this character right here, this is going to be the last one. It's going to be Frozen Banshee, one of the best, if not the best poisoner in the game. Yes, there is other characters that can fulfill this role that can potentially do good damage as well. But when it comes to her, her damage is just insane. You get her in a rare, really good champ, totally viable for Ultra Nightmare clan boss teams. It's just such a good poisoner that they essentially they gave relatively easy to get, in the sense that she's not even a void champion. And if you did get the battle pass, I believe that she was incorporated that if you paid for it. So very relatively accessible character that is going to last you all the way until Ultra Nightmare. If you need a good poisoner, you got her right there in Frozen Banshee. That's unfortunately the end of the rares for this list. When it comes to irreplaceable, like you could totally take this character all the way through. So let's get into the epic characters. The epic characters, there's a few of them on here. We got 8 epic characters we can talk about as they're arguably the best at what they do and can't be replaced. First one is going to be Skull Crusher. Yes, there is 2 other characters that are really good counterattack characters. And what I mean by best, in the sense that Skull Crusher, for example, he's very unique in his passive and the other ability he gets when he does counterattack, which is his Unkillable buff. There's a lot of potential to be used with him abusing that in clan boss. For example, Murder Inc. was able to find essentially another Unkillable team with him and Rashcard are a core of characters that can survive all the way up until the 50 turns mark. And you would need Skull Crusher for that. He's absolutely imperative because of his very unique passive here, where it decreases the duration of all debuffs on the champion by 1 turn at the start of each turn. So he just doesn't get stunned, and he also doesn't lose the cooldown for it. So he can keep going. Also for double counterattack style comps, it's really nice to be able to have this ability here. This Unkillable is just irreplaceable when it comes to that. Even when compared to other ones, it's going to help you survive a lot longer. So it's very unique. I think those other characters are still very good, and maybe in your situation, it might be better for you to have a Martyr. It might be better for you to have a Valkyrie, but he definitely deserves his place on this list because he's unique and he fulfills a role that's not worse, but just as good. It's just different. That's why I have him on here. Okay, and then we got another Organ Tribe member on the list that's irreplaceable, is going to be Maneater. So Maneater is a very unique character in the sense that he has this combination of unkillable and block debuffs on one ability, which is for the whole team, which is very cool. The only character that competes with this is going to be Rashcard, and he doesn't have the block debuff. So that's why the issue with him is that he's on a 5-turn, whereas Rashcard's on a 4-turn, but you need someone that can like take the punch and stuff like that. So it's they both serve very similar roles, but different roles. And his is very unique in the sense that he's not only getting the unkillable, but he's also getting the block debuffs buff. So it's a really cool ability that is going to last, that as the game progresses, I think there's going to be more and more uses for this. I think a lot of people are still able to do the whole unkillable style comps because they just have so much good damage up until the 50 turn mark. So it's still a very viable character, and also a very unique character that no other character can really replace. Royal Guard here. There's no other legendary or anything that can do something as well as he can, because he does Cold Heart's ability with the decrease, or does damage based on enemy max HP, but he does it in an AoE version, and it's just no other character can come close to the amount of damage he can do. He's when it based on the scenario, like for example at Spider, he's super good. Just what people do is they have him, and then all they'll do is just get more Royal Guards. They'll just get more Cold Hearts. Like, it doesn't. There's no legendary that can really beat what he does. He provides such a unique ability that he clearly deserves to be on the list. Very very cool champion. I'm a big fan of him. I personally got 2 up myself, so I like him a lot. Definitely unique. You pull him, obviously a fantastic pull. It's going to really improve your Spider. It's going to really improve your dragon. And I've even used him in Fire Knight too. I actually really like him. You definitely want to have a team that can help like pick him up or survive, but he does a lot of damage to the waves in the beginning because enemy max HP is really good. Even though he's off affinity, I do like him in Fire Knight. Character Void Epic. The cool thing about her kit is this move, no other character has a move like this. Very unique, does a ton of damage. I've seen, for example, Stu is a big fan of this character. Some of the speed farming he does with her is actually really cool. I think she's such an interesting, unique kit, and then also very effective. It definitely helps a lot. Used her sparingly in Faction Wars, but watching her being used, I would definitely check out Stu's channel when it comes to Seer, because she's just so good. She not only clears buffs if you need that. Yes, she's taking your guys' buffs, but she's hitting so hard, especially on bosses. It's super cool. And you combine this with like Kaimar or something like that, where if you really want to get fast speed runs, Seer would definitely be a character you'd want to take a look at. So really cool character. I also like that she's void, so you can take this. You don't have to worry about the dungeon. You don't have to worry about affinity. She's just always going to bring it. You can do a lot of fun stuff with her. You can bring. She has really cool synergies with, for example, this meme champ. You can take in Shamrock, tons of buffs, gives the whole team. She uses those to nuke. Really, really fun character. Next on the list, we got one of my favorite characters here is Madame Ceres. So Madame Ceres is absolutely one of the best characters in the game at the roles she fulfills. I can't think of anyone that, especially when it comes to arena, I think she's in a class of her own in what she does. She just has so much to her kit. But the big thing is going to be her A3. This is what people know her about, but it's more than that. It's the whole kit is just insane. Removes all buffs from all enemies. That alone in arena is amazing. But then she's doing the 50% decreased attack and 60% decreased defense. So especially with this meta of a whole bunch of block debuff buffs happening, a move like this is especially good. It's already a really good move, but especially now in the meta, this move is just awesome. It's so good for arena now. It's good in dungeons. It's good everywhere. I think she is absolutely S tier when it comes to arena, and also when it comes to Ice Golem. I think it's really nice to be able to have that ability that can clear buffs, but the decreased attack is super nice on Ice Golem. Like normally I would just use Venus everywhere, but I think she's significantly better in areas where you have to worry about that, how much damage the opponent does, and having it all combined in one move is awesome. Passive, she has actually a pretty good A1 here. This is really nice to use, especially if you are applying those debuffs. Really trying to take advantage of this passive on her A1 is really cool. So just a super well-rounded character at what she does. No character comes close. And so next on the list, we got Miscreated Monster. So just another really well-rounded good kit on a character that happens to just be an epic. So going to be really useful, especially if the earlier you pull him, the better, because he's so good at helping with progression. He's so good at helping people survive, like Spider, for example. He's such a good solution for really hard questions in the beginning of your account. His shield, his ally protection, this right here, especially the more characters you have, when his shield, no character can get a shield as big as his, especially when you use this on like Spider, for example. It's just so good. It's going to help you clear things that normally wouldn't be possible in a epic style character. So just super cool. If you're new to the game, hopefully you guys pull this guy. Super good character. There's a lot of carries in the game, but he's unique enough to where I feel like you're going to be using him for a very long time. I think maybe in the very in game when you're just doing speed runs. He might not be as useful for you. Easily S tier when it comes to progression. Seeker's the next character on the list, and I do feel like I need to preface this a little bit because his role is very similar to like Arbiter or very similar to Lysandra, but I think he's not getting replaced by those characters. I think he's his own version of those characters, just a little different. And he's better in the sense that he's not the main lead. He's a good secondary speed booster to an Arbiter or to Alessandra. But his passive is too unique and too good to just consider him an obvious replacement for by those other characters, and arguably could be better than those characters in certain situations. So the first thing that he needed to have was he has the 30% turn meter fill, and I think that's really important. And having the 30% version of it, not the 15%, not the 20%. 30% makes a big difference. And then he has two really cool abilities where he gets to go again, and then his A1 is really cool because it has provoke. Provoke is very good in arena. And then lastly, this ability here too is what really sets him apart as unique in the sense that he has this heals this champion by 20% and places a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns when they're hit with a critical hit. It hits before damage is calculated. So it's very good, especially against AoE characters, that you're going to be getting that increased defense to help the rest of the team survive. He's one of the only characters that can ever do stuff like that passively. Very good character that you're not going to replace him. You might build a different comp, but you're not replacing him. He's just different and very good at what he does. This one's kind of like my honorable mention slash you can argue that doesn't belong on this list, but he's just so good that and only gets replaced by one person, in my opinion, in the game, that I think he deserves to be on this list. And for that, it's Mausoleum Mage. So yes, his ability that I'm highlighting here it's objectively worse than Sifi's version of it, but it's just such a good ability that I think it deserves to be on this list. Because if you're getting replaced by the one of if not the best void legendary character in the game, I think you're doing a good job, which is this ability here, which is places a block debuffs buff on all allies for 1 turn, also places a 30% increased crit rate buff and a 60% increased defense on all allies for 2 turns. So fantastic ability. Block debuffs buff is great in a lot of places of content. Notably right now is going to be arena. Super good. I see a lot of people do like a super high resist build with him. I think it's kind of funny that his kit, like this move here and this move here, are very similar to the legendary Scartorsus, and I think he just completely better, more useful than Scartorsus. I know they're different. He has like a speed aura that's really good and stuff like that. Like, but if I had my choice between pulling 2 of them, I think I would choose Mausoleum Mage. He's just a really good character. The only character I should bring her up just because I was talking about her as the only character that I can really see replacing him. It's Sifi, because she has this move that's just objectively better, which is fills turn meter of all allies by 15%, places the block debuff buff, a 60% increased defense buff, and a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. So yes, of course you're going to replace a Mausoleum Mage with this character. So technically it doesn't deserve to be on the list, but the move is just so good that I think he deserves to be on it. All right, guys, well, that should do it for me in this video. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know down in the comments below if there's any rares or epics that I missed that deserve to be on this list. I think it's really cool to highlight these style of characters that are not necessarily legendaries, that are going to go all the way into in-game for you. I think the more people to know, the better. If you like content like this, please consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel, and you guys have a good one. Peace.